What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's podcast. Josh and I will be discussing. We're just going to discuss a few of the Week 15 games because I feel like that's the best way to go about it this week. And we're going to talk about some of the most, I think, the most interesting games. Also, we never get to talk about the Thursday night one just because of the way our schedules work out. That's going to change today. We're going to talk about it's such a great game, the Chiefs Chargers for the AFC West, at least for first place. For the time being in the AFC West. And, yeah, man, let's get straight into that one. That's a fun-ass game.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, obviously the Chargers got the best of them on the road earlier this year, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in L.A.
Yeah, like imagine if that game were played in L.A. and the Chargers won, it would feel like, it would just feel different but the fact that they already got the Kansas City game out of the way, it gives reason for optimism, I think, at least to some degree. Now,
of course, obviously the Chiefs are playing at a lot better level than they were then. And
red hot.
And, the Chargers have played well since that game, but they've also played like shit since that game. So it's like you don't kind of know how they're going to come out, essentially, and play. Herbert could light it up, but then again, he couldn't because, the Kansas City, the Kansas City defense right now is just playing astronomically better than they have all season. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, look, the Chiefs have won 6 straight games. The Chargers at that point, I think they started the season 4-1. However it went. But they started 4-1, but then ever since then, it's been basically a win-loss until. They beat who'd they beat the week before Cincinnati? They beat somebody, and then they beat Cincinnati, and then they came back this week and beat the Giants. So now they've won 2 in a row, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 of 4. So, the Chargers now, who knows? This might be the start of something where in 3 weeks' time, I'm saying, hey, the Chargers have won 5 straight. They're the first place in the AFC West. They're the hottest team in football. Like that could be what's mounting here if they can get this win, and it's at home against the Chiefs, which, again, if this game was in Kansas City, I'd be like, I would literally bet my life the Chiefs would win. Mm-hmm. As it stands now, if I'm picking it right this second, I'm probably leaning towards Kansas City still, but I'm not super bullish on it because, again, it's not in KC.
You know what I mean? And the Chargers at home, they could give them a run for their money.
And they know they can beat the Chiefs.
Yes.
And also Patrick Mahomes over this 6-game winning streak is not the Patrick Mahomes that we, have. He's got 9 touchdown passes in 6 games, right? And he's not even averaging 7 yards per pass attempt over those 6 games. He's been sacked almost twice a game, very close to that, 10 times in 6 games. So, and he's only throwing 258 yards a game, which is not terrible, obviously, but completing 63% of his passes, so a little lower. And so, it's not like he's been, the Patrick Mahomes of, that we're used to more so. He really hasn't been dominating. And then Justin Herbert on the flip side of that lately has been on fire. When you look at, Herbert over the last 4 games, he's 11 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, completing almost 71% of his passes, averaging 8.5 yards per pass attempt. And again, they've won 3 of their last 4. So with wins over Pittsburgh, then they lost that rough game to Denver. That was what I mean when I said win-loss. But then, they went to Cincinnati in an absolutely huge AFC playoff game there, beat them 41-22, almost doubled them up, and then destroyed the Giants. The final score, yes, it was 37-21, but the reality is that was a 37-7 game with 6 minutes to go. And then the Giants had a couple of little late garbage time touchdowns. But when I look at Kansas City, I think elite defense. And I said that the other day on the podcast. I'm going to stand by that. I really believe they are an elite defense right now. And you asked me why. I don't really exactly know, aside from they definitely have talent at all 3 levels. They definitely, I think the strength of this team is, and this is going to sound crazy, but the strength of this team is not the pass rush like it used to be, although the pass rush can get hot and really take over a game. It's the secondary. And, really, I would say even the linebackers are playing very well. So They have good players all across the board. They've done a really, really good job on days 2, 3, and on undrafted guys in recent years, and that's what you need to sustain success the way that Kansas City is attempting to do. And again, man, if you look at just their last, like back in that week, since week 8, right, since week 6, they allowed 13 to Washington. Then they came and they allowed 27 to Tennessee in that 27-3 blowout. But after that, it was 17 points they allowed to the Giants, 7 to the Packers without Rodgers, granted, 14 to the Raiders, 9 to Dallas, 9 to Denver, 9 to the Raiders. That's what we're dealing with the Chiefs. So to call them anything but an elite defense, I think is not a true statement. And so I think that the over, by the way, Kansas City's a 3-point favorite. Over-under is 52. I feel like that's extremely high.
I think it's low.
You think so? I mean, that's what historically, yeah. But
right.
Both the way their defense are playing right now,
yeah.
Especially on the Chiefs side of it, but even on the Chargers side, like I feel like that's an awfully high.
I just feel like in a game like that, like obviously they're both high-powered offenses.
Yeah, and a Thursday night game could tend to be. Yeah. I feel like they tend to be a little higher. So like the last week, the Steelers Vikings game was busted the over by far just because of Thursday night games. Also, those are cross-conference. These two teams know each other very well. Austin Eckler, if he's playing, would be an absolutely huge thing. I mean, the coach said he's quote-unquote fine, right? Mm-hmm. He was a limited participant in walkthroughs on Tuesday. He's expected to have his practice reps limited, blah, blah, blah. But it looks like
I think they're going to go with him. I mean, they kind of need him this week because this is for the division.
I mean, this is huge, yeah. And without Eckler, they have what looks to be no real run game or no one that you're afraid of in the backfield,
right?
And what he does as a receiver obviously is unbelievable for them.
I think he suits up, which obviously helps them a lot. Keenan Allen is also back from the COVID list in this one, so that obviously helps them too. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Who are you leaning towards in this one?
I want to the way the Chiefs have been playing as of late. I want to say them, but I'm gonna stick.
You picked the Chargers last time. He did it. He was like super confident. I was like laughing, like, dude, the Chiefs are gonna win, but because it was in Kansas City.
Yeah,
but now you're going KC's way.
No.
Wow.
I'm sticking with the Chargers.
Sticking with them to sweep the Chiefs in Week 15 to claim first place in the AFC West. Maybe a passing of the guard in that division for the first time in what feels like.
I mean, I think it's going to be a close game, obviously, because the Chiefs are never out of it.
Yeah, going to be close.
But I also want the Chargers to win this, just because I like to see something new and.
Yeah. So I'm with you.
Someone else to actually win
I'd be
the
happier
division
if the Chargers won. I agree.
Yeah, and I just think like the Chargers are playing well right now. Obviously, the Chiefs are too. But at home, I think that gives them a little bit of the edge in this one. So I'm going Chargers.
Yeah, I feel you. And like for me, I guess a lot of when I make certain picks in certain situations, I kind of do so off of like a pattern recognition sort of thing. And the pattern I see here is the Chargers are like. Get a moral victory because they play a close game. I feel like we've seen this before somewhere. Moral victory because they played the Chiefs down to the wire, but ultimately Patrick Mahomes gets the ball in his hands last. Kansas City goes down there, kicks the game-winning field goal, wins a 27-24 game because I think it's going to be lower scoring. I'm not super bullish on the under here just because it's these two teams on a short week, but I will say I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking them 27-24. Last second field goal. We'll see if I'm calling that right. But that would be the Chiefs pushing, not covering. It would be a push there. And then if it's 27-24, it would be the under by, what is that, a point or 1 point? Yeah, so I'm taking the Chiefs, but I'm rooting like hell that you're right. I'm rooting for the Chargers. So
I'm going Chargers 28-24.
Okay. So you kind of like actually that's a push in the over-under. So yeah, we're right kind of at the or no. Yeah, that was it. So we're right there at the over-under. Could be over, could be under, kind of either way. And, I like it. So I also want to talk about this Saturday night game, actually. It's the Patriots Colts on a Saturday night. Dude, I was stunned to see this. It's in Indianapolis, okay? So take that for what you will in terms of why the spread is the way it is. But the Colts are 2.5-point favorites in this game. the Colts are favorites over the hottest team in football, the New England Patriots, who just passed the ball 3 times and beat Buffalo in Buffalo, and now they're rested off a bye. What's Belichick's record off a bye? God, I wish I had that right here for you guys. I should have thought about that beforehand. But the point is, I don't know if I can pick the Colts to win this game. Now, I understand Indy's hot. They're red hot, right? They're very dangerous.
I mean, are they, or is it just Jonathan Taylor's red hot?
I mean, you could make that argument, but like they've been playing winning football. Like Wentz hasn't been MVP level from 2016 Wentz, but what he has been is, I mean, oh my God, look at this. So over there let's see. So they started 1, 2, 3, 4. They started 1-4. Okay, after the 1-4 start, they have won. I mean, they've only lost 1 game, I believe, right? No, 2 games. They lost to Tampa. And then they lost to Tennessee before Derrick Henry was injured. So, and also before A.J. Brown was hurt, I believe. So, point is, they lost to 2 very, very good football teams. Now, they have dismantled teams in the process. They destroyed the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. They almost beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or they were very competitive at least in that game. And then before their bye week, which was last week, they destroyed Houston. And say what you will about Houston, but they beat them in Houston 31-0. Actually, they beat Houston in the 2 games that they played against them this year, a combined 62-3. So they're doing what they're supposed to against, bad teams. They're also beaten on this 8-week stretch where they've only lost 2 games. They beat teams like San Francisco, Buffalo, dismantled them. But really, other than that, it's been a pretty soft schedule. So I won't, and they lost to Tennessee and Tampa. So I don't know, man. I just think that right now, the way the Patriots are playing, as much as I would like to say like, oh yeah, Indy's the home team, blah, blah, blah. And like Vegas, to me, this is a situation where Vegas knows something we don't know, I feel like, because this is a spot where they would definitely pick the Patriots would be favorites in this one, right? There's another game we're going to talk about later. It's the Titans Steelers. The Titans are 1.5 point favorites in Pittsburgh, and I feel like that's a similar thing to this game where the Patriots, in my opinion, should be 1.5 point favorites going into this game. Just my humble opinion, but Carson Wentz has not done a ton, right? He's been not making the big mistake, but he's been kind of a game managing quarterback. Like him against Bill Belichick's defense after a bye where Belichick's had 2 weeks to prepare. Yeah. Jesus. So it's going to be Jonathan Taylor or bust. And Belichick's mantra is we're going to take away what you do best. So it would appear as though he's going to take
stack the box.
Yeah, he's going to stack the hell. Probably similar to how Tampa did and what Tampa was able to do in that game. Now, Carson didn't play bad, but Tampa obviously won the game, number 1. Number 2, Tampa was just like, we're going to make you pass. And at one point in that game, the Colts threw 26 straight passes. Didn't run the ball 26 straight snaps in a row.
Right.
And they were saying, look, with those fronts and yada, yada, that's why it happened or whatever. But, I would imagine Belichick's going to do that. And I would also imagine that Belichick's probably his secondary and linebacker, well, I don't know about linebackers, but his secondary is probably a little bit better than what they're working with in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean.
And Jamel Dean got hurt, guys.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to pick against the Patriots.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you could.
I mean, they've arguably butchered that word.
Yeah. We get it.
They've been the best team down the stretch here.
Yeah, they've been phenomenal.
They've been dominating on the defense aspect. So, like we said, they're going to stack the box, shut Jonathan Taylor down, or at least,
try their best.
Try their best to
Carson
shut
Wentz
him.
beat him. Yeah,
and they're gonna try and make Carson Wentz beat him with his arm down the field, and you know how that secondary is for the Patriots. So
dominant and that pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're not. I don't think they're going to be able to. The Colts are going to be able to muster up enough points against that defense to get the win.
I'm with you.
I think this is. It's incredible that they're underdogs in this one, but they are on the road, so I guess you got to give them the Colts, the heads up on that one. But
maybe
I'm going Colts, or excuse me, Patriots.
I was like, damn, you threw a curveball.
Yeah.
No, but one last thing I want to throw in here is you have to remember the Colts are most vulnerable against the run. We just watched this Patriots team win a game in Buffalo where they only passed 3 times.
Right.
So they're more than willing, and they've been more. It's not just that one game; they've been more than willing to run the ball effectively and consistently, almost all year long. So, and when Mac Jones has been made to pass, he's been able to beat teams in that way as well. So the balance the Patriots possess is going to hurt the Colts, because right now, if you just for the rest of the 2021 season, which quarterback would you rather have, Carson Wentz or Mac Jones?
Mac Jones.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, as crazy as that is to say for a rookie, I feel like it's almost a similar question that I've asked you, or that I would have asked you at the time, or a good comparison, I should say, is like, what quarterback would you rather have? Remember the year Alex Smith almost won MVP the year before, the year after they drafted Mahomes, but Mahomes hadn't played yet? It was Alex Smith was, for the first half of that season, was an MVP candidate. Like, I would rather have that Alex Smith than Carson Wentz as well. And I think that's what we're getting with Mac Jones, is kind of like, he's not an MVP candidate, but the point is he's playing like more of closer to that level of Alex Smith. And I think both of those guys are better than, and just a little bit better than what Carson Wentz has been this year. I could see Wentz turning it up and maybe even having a higher ceiling than what Mac Jones possesses the rest of the way. But ultimately, man, I'm just going to trust that Belichick's going to have a plan to stop Jonathan Taylor, and that Belichick is going to have J.C. Jackson locked up all over our guy, Michael Pittman. And at that point, it becomes a matchup game. It doesn't work out well for Indy, in my opinion.
Yeah, J.C. Jackson's an absolute freak, so yeah, he's going to do whatever it takes to for them to win this game.
Yeah, and I could see, like, okay, the Colts might be the more desperate team, maybe, but, like, here's the thing, man. If you're the Patriots, you need to win this game. You know why? Because the week after that, you play Buffalo again, and Buffalo's not that happy. Buffalo's pissed off, and if you want to talk about a desperate team, it's Buffalo. Like, Buffalo's one of them as well. So it's like, to me, it looks like the Patriots are going to look at this almost as a must-win as much as the Colts are. So I'm taking the Pats. I'm taking them to win a close game, I will say, especially it's in prime time too, like Carson Wentz versus Belichick and the bright lights. I don't know, man. I'll take the Patriots. Damn, I almost said what you said. I'll take the Patriots to win a game. Let's say it's, I'm going to say 24-21 Pats.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm with the Patriots. I'm going to say 24-17.
Okay, so you like the under.
Yes.
What I said, 24-21, that would make it a push with the over-under, because the over-under is 45 in this game. And obviously, I don't just like the Pats to cover. I like them to win outright. So let's move on. We got just a couple more games here to talk about real quick. We're trying to make these a little quicker, because we want to give you guys not super long videos every single time as well. So Packers, Ravens in Baltimore. Green Bay's a 4.5-point favorite. Over-under is 43.5. So first and
the real question is Lamar Jackson.
Is Lamar Jackson playing? As I was going to say, first and foremost, that's what we need to figure out. That's why it's not even up on one of the sites I was looking up for the odds. I had to go somewhere else and get it.
I mean, didn't practice today. The Ravens signed Josh Johnson from the practice squad today.
Ooh, that's a very, very strong sign that he may not be able to go.
Yeah, it looks like a bad sign for Jackson this week.
I didn't know that.
That really changes a lot here.
That changes a whole lot.
I mean, obviously, the Packers are going to dismantle them if Lamar Jackson doesn't play in this one.
Yeah.
It looks like, honestly, it looks like he's not going to play this week. And it sucks for the Ravens because, man, do they need him. They're on a 2-game losing streak right now.
Yeah, and they need to win this game, too.
Yes.
Like, it's not they're in the position where it's almost must-win for them.
They're, 2-3 in their last 5. So,
that's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, they really needed this game. Obviously, it's at home, so they had that going for them. They would probably be favorites if Lamar Jackson was playing in this one at home.
They'd be small favorites. I think probably like 1.5, 2 points. But like, here's the thing with the Ravens, right? So they're 8-5. So you say, hey man, they're first place in their division. They don't have to win, but the Browns and the Bengals are 7-6, and guess what? Stranger things have happened. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-1. They're a game and a half behind the Ravens right now. It's not like they're way behind. And they beat the Ravens in that first game. I think they still play them one more.
Mm-hmm.
But so if they beat Baltimore twice this year and steal first place, stranger things have happened. The Browns have not been so consistent to where I would just be like, oh yeah, they'll, I don't know. And the Bengals the same way. They've dropped 2 in a row now, and so that division is seriously up for grabs, and any of the 4 teams could take it. So yeah, Baltimore needs the win. If Lamar Jackson doesn't play, though, I'm with you. There's no chance.
No chance.
I mean, literally no chance, because guess what?
I mean, we're talking about the the NFC leading Packers here.
Yeah, they're the number 1 seed, and the only thing is they're the number 1 seed with a tied record to the Cardinals and the Buccaneers. So I think the Cardinals are now the 3 seed, and the Bucs being the 2 seed at 10-3. So they need to win just to keep that. Like, if they drop the ball and either one of those 2 teams wins, Cardinals or the Cardinals play the Lions, by the way. Tampa, I don't remember who Tampa plays, but the point is, if like they have to keep pace, to win and to keep that number 1 seed. And dude, how crucial would it be for the Packers to actually have home field throughout? I think they had it last year, and Tom Brady went in there and stole it. Point is,
the Bucs have the Saints this week.
And they lost to the Saints last time, so it's possible that they lose that game. And if they lose that game and the Cardinals beat the Lions and the Packers lose to Baltimore if Lamar Jackson plays, well, now we're looking at the Cardinals back in the number 1 seed. So it's it's going to be one of those things where you got to win every week in order to keep that number 1 seed. And I mean, having home field throughout when it's Lambeau Field, it's just to me it's a little bit of an extra advantage. So the Packers you're not going to catch them. So this is not going to be a trap game, right? Even if Lamar doesn't play and you're thinking, "Ooh, trap game." No, it's not going to be a trap game. It's going to be a brutal beatdown. I'm closer to with you. I don't think the Ravens will ever embarrass themselves and get smoked, but at least not in this particular situation. But I will say this though, on the Packers side of it, right? It's going to have to be all Aaron Rodgers, because Baltimore, the one thing they've been very, very good at and consistent with on defense is stopping the run. So, I don't think they're going to completely put the clamps on the Packers' run game, but I do think it's going to have to be, 70-30 Aaron Rodgers in terms of how they get their points and move the football for the majority of the game. So, I think that Rodgers, when you look at Marlon Humphrey being out, I mean, Marcus Peters been out all year, the matchups with who's going to cover Devontae Adams? I'll just say it like that. Who's going to cover that guy? I don't see that being an issue. The Ravens have been giving up big plays on defense all year long. I'm going to take the Packers in this game because I don't know if Lamar Jackson's playing now with what you just told me. And even if he does, it'll be much closer, right? But if he doesn't, I'm going to give you 2 different predictions. One, with Huntley starting at quarterback, I'm going to take in that scenario, I'll take the Packers to win it 30-20. I'm going to take it 27-17 Packers in that scenario. If Lamar Jackson does play, I'll say it's 27-24.
So you're taking the Packers regardless?
I'm taking the Packers regardless, yeah. And I just feel like you're not going to get anything but their best. I feel different about the Packers this year. I feel like they're really on a mission. You know what I mean?
It's the last dance, right?
It's that kind of vibe.
It's kind of they're on their way out the door kind of thing.
And like you said, the Ravens have lost 2 in a row. They're not exactly ascending.
Yeah, even if Lamar plays in this one, I mean, the guy's playing like absolute dog shit as of late. Unfortunately for him, I mean, he only has 16 pass touchdowns this year, and 13 interceptions.
Yeah. He's only had 15 in the 2019 and 2020 seasons combined.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So he's really throwing a bunch of picks.
He is. I don't know. Okay, so I've been. He's my quarterback in Chalk Your Bets.
I said he was going to be the number 1 fantasy quarterback this year.
Yeah, and I've been watching him all year, and I don't know. It's just like the way he throws the ball this year, it looks like a little different. Like his release.
He's pressing a little bit, I think.
His release is a lot different, and it looks like shit. And I hate it. Every time he throws the ball, I'm like, what is that?
This is why in the beginning of the year, I said I would offer Lamar Jackson a deal that was well below market value in terms of top 5 quarterback, because he is, in my opinion, up there. He deserves to be paid like a top 5 quarterback. However, I would have offered him something like short term that was, I can't remember what I said, but the reason is the Ravens, I think this year is his 4th year, right? So they have here's how they're going to go about it. We're going to let you play out year 4. And the reason why they're not going to be strong-armed into a negotiation or an extension earlier than they want to be, we want to say this. With how much you run, you're running for – I don't care if you do a great job of not taking hits. The point is you run for 1,000 yards a season, okay? We want to see you play your 4th season. Then we have a 5th-year option on you, which they've already exercised. He'll be under the 5th-year option next year, which is by top-level quarterback standard, that's a pretty reasonable amount of money. I think it's less than $20 million or right around there.
Right.
And so then – we can franchise tag you. I think it's up to 3 times, right? I'm drawing a blank on that, but it's at least 2. So the point is, even if it's just 2, right? You've got him for year 4 on a rookie contract, and he was drafted late in the 1st round, so it's a couple $1,000,000, right? Then you get him for 20. Let's just call it 20 million on the 5th-year option, and then if you franchise tag him, that's a path that if I'm the GM in Baltimore, I'm totally willing to go down that road, because then let's just say by year 2 of that, meaning after next year, I'm gonna have a really good idea if I can trust Lamar with that style of play to remain healthy and to be sustainable running for 1,000 yards every season. Because if there's something that happens where Lamar Jackson can't give you 1,000 yards, now he's only a 500 or 600 yard per season rusher.
Right.
Well, that to me drops his value, substantially. So I think if I were and he doesn't have an agent, but if I were his agent, which Lamar hit me up, I'm down. But if I were his agent, I'd be really willing to say, I'd be pushing him to say, hey, bro, look, sign a 3-year, $100 million fully guaranteed deal. Get yourself because I think Baltimore would do that right now. I think they'd say, screw the 5th year. Like, that right there is fair on both sides. Then Lamar's 26, 27 years old or whatever it is by the end of that 3 years where he's collected a guaranteed $100 million. Then if you've been able to sustain healthiness and your style, elite level of play, then you'll be at the bargaining table ready to say, give me $45 million a year, give me $50 million a year, whatever it is. And I think then Baltimore would have to pay you. You know what I mean? So that would be my advice to Lamar. Because I would hate to see something happen this year and then, the money just go away. Yeah. Right? That would be devastating. So anyways, taking the Packers, I'm taking them in both situations. They win by a little bit more if Lamar doesn't play, but either way, I'm taking Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay.
And I guess we both like the over because the under in this game, or over-under, is 43.5. That seems incredibly low.
Yeah, if
they're anticipating
if
Lamar's not playing.
Yeah, if he doesn't play, it's going to be an absolute blowout.
Yeah, it could be 27.
It could be 30-14, 30-17,
and that would still be the over. Or yeah, those would both be the over. So I'm with you. I like the over as well. So, but yeah, we both like Packers, and looks like the over in that one. It wouldn't be a game I'd bet on in any case, just because the Ravens, I wouldn't. I told you to do that. I wouldn't want to bet on this game because I could definitely see them stealing it. They're a team that's just so tough, and you never can count them out. So I wouldn't advise betting on that one, but I'm taking the Pack. All right, Titans-Steelers. The Titans in Pittsburgh. The depleted offense that is the Tennessee Titans are 1.5-point favorites in Pittsburgh. Over-under in this one is 42, which I'm totally agreeing with. Right now, I got a hot take. Right now, Ben Roethlisberger, because of the weapons he has around him, not because he's better than Ryan Tannehill, but with the full content, with the weapons he has and the running backs and the receivers, he's better at football production-wise than what Ryan Tannehill is right now.
Right.
And I think that Tannehill will be under some pressure by this Steelers defense that is seemingly getting back to being able to pressure quarterbacks lately. And, they did a good job against Lamar 2 weeks ago. They did a great job against Cousins last game. Cousins made some big splash plays, but for the most part, he didn't even complete 50% of his passes. I think that's the first time he's been held under that all season long. So Pittsburgh's pass defense is slowly starting to play a little bit better. And when you look at who the Titans have to run the ball at you with, and I know they did it to New England, but I'm not terrified of anybody they have in the backfield there.
Yeah, Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard, aren't the most, feared guys in the NFL.
What did they do last week?
But they've been solid the past couple games. It looks like a dream matchup for them this week with the
definitely. I'd start
against the Steelers. Yeah,
but I don't think that's gonna be enough to beat Pittsburgh. Is my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just it's tough because the Steelers have not been the Steelers as of years past. This year, obviously, Big Ben's last year here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Definitely. But like you said, I don't know. I think the Titans. I don't think they have enough to beat the Steelers.
I'm with you, man.
Tannehill isn't going to tear up the stat sheet. A.J. Brown is out. Obviously, Derrick Henry's out.
Yeah, Julio's playing, but
that guy's done.
Doesn't scare me.
His soft tissue injuries have been
devastating,
plaguing his career the last couple years. He's just not the same player. It's Julio Jones. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer, obviously.
Absolutely. I respect the shit out of that guy. As a Panther fan, I saw it.
Yeah, if you have him in fantasy, you can drop him with full confidence.
Right, pretty much. And, dude, this Pittsburgh team beat Tennessee last year in Tennessee after the Titans started like 5-0. They beat them because they were both undefeated at that time. They went into Tennessee and beat them. I know that was a long time ago, but that was the Titans offense that had Derrick Henry, that had Arthur Smith, right, as offensive coordinator, that had A.J. Brown, that had, Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith and all those guys. So,
this is a do or die game
for the Steelers too. So they're going to be 1,000% desperate. And I just think that if they can stop the run, and these are not world beaters at running back for the Titans, if they can just contain it a little bit, I don't see how Tennessee scores. I mean, Tennessee in a game where Jacksonville's offense continually immediately gave them the ball back every single possession, seemingly, they still can only muster 20 points in that game.
Yeah, here's the stat right here. They beat the Jags last week, right?
Yeah.
Averaging 3.8 yards a play.
Yeah, you see, the offense is dreadful. You know,
so dreadful.
So I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. I'm going to take them to win. Let's say 24-13, 24-17. I'll go 24-17, make it a little closer. But yeah, I like them to win by a touchdown. And if it's 24-17, that would be the 34-41. That'd be the under by 1 point.
I'm taking the Steelers as well, 24-20.
Okay, so you like the over by a couple points, but we both like Pittsburgh. That's the important thing, and I think that's a good bet. I would bet on that game if I'm being honest. Like I wouldn't love the idea of taking the Packers -4.5 in Baltimore, but Pittsburgh plus 1.5 against the Titans, I like that, and I like them just money line as well. By the way, some breaking news just came in real quick. I'm just gonna give my take on this. DeAndre Hopkins out for the year or out for the regular season. Hopeful that he can return for the playoffs. So
wow.
That's
for
devastating.
me. I have him in fantasy. Great. Wonderful.
Oof. Yeah, that is devastating. He's a great player, and that's going to hurt their offense. So I think 2 weeks from now they play the Colts. That is going to be devastating in that particular game because they're going to have to win to keep pace and try and get that number 1 seed. So hopefully we'll be back for the playoffs, but that does suck, and I feel bad for Cardinals fans. You have my condolences. Let's move on to the last game I'm talking about today. Bengals at the Broncos. Denver's a 2.5-point favorite in this game, and you heard that right. Denver, a 2.5-point favorite against the Cincinnati Bengals. Over-under is 44. Of course, it's in Denver. The Broncos have been destroying people as of late. Of course, they lost that one to the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. But who hasn't lost to the Chiefs? I mean, they're the Chiefs, right? They're dominating everybody, and both defenses have been phenomenal. And the thing about it is, man, Denver, of course, last week, you're like, big deal, they beat the Lions. But look, here's a way of figuring out if a team is who we think they might be in terms of a really good team. Did you beat the Lions or did you demolish them? Because you're supposed to demolish those teams. And they demolished them 38-10, right? The week before that, they lost to Kansas City. The week before that, they beat up on Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That was Justin Herbert's worst game in a month and a half or so. You know what I mean? It was right after his red-hot game against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. So, the Denver defense points allowed over the last, Denver's points allowed, check this out, Lay, over the last 7 games, 17, 10, 16, 30 against Philly. It was kind of an outlier here. 13 to the Chargers, 22 to the Chiefs, but I believe Kansas City had a defensive touchdown in that game. So if you really want to talk defensive points allowed, it was more like 15 or whatever. And then 10 against the Lions last week. So, Javonte Williams is really coming into his own.
He really is.
I mean, the dude is going crazy lately. He's averaging well over 100 yards he's averaging like 120, 130 yards from scrimmage almost, over the last couple of games. He's been targeted 11 times in the last 2 games as well, but he's been really coming into his own. He's at over 100 yards from scrimmage in 3 consecutive games. 2 out of the last 3 games, but last week he got in the end zone twice. So he's really going, doing his thing. And the way Denver's playing just complimentary football is impressive. That all said, what I saw last week from Joe Burrow, I'm not willing to sit here and look. Would I start Joe Burrow in fantasy this week? No. Would I tell you that I have more respect for Joe Burrow as a football player after what he did this past week against the Niners than what I had before that? Absolutely. Because, dude, the guy down 7 points from his own 5-yard line, 2 little over 2 minutes to go, goes 95 yards for the fucking game-tying touchdown. And maybe I said this on the podcast the other day. Maybe Cincinnati should have gone for it there, gone for 2 to win it there. But in any case, then he drove them right down the field in overtime. Took a sack on 3rd and 3, but it was better than throwing a pick, of course, and led them to a field goal. So he had 348 yards passing. Like, he was very good in that game, and he showed that and that was without Joe Mixon, essentially. And Burrow has had over 300 or more passing yards in each of the last 2 weeks. So, to me, he's a guy that if he can just not throw interceptions, that's the one thing that I have a little bit of a problem with Burrow this year, because he's thrown 14 picks. He was also throwing 25 touchdowns. But 14 interceptions in 13 games is too much. So if Burrow takes care of the football here, I really like the Bengals' chances as road underdogs to go in there and steal this. But the reason I like this game, real quick, is both these teams are 7-6.
Yeah, they're both fighting for playoff spots.
It's a big game. You know what I mean? And I think I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, honest. I mean, Jamar Chase has a tough matchup this week.
Very.
Against those Broncos cornerbacks. It's going to be interesting to see how they come in and play. Obviously, like we just said, they're both fighting for playoff spots. Burrow, the Bengals have been a little bit up and down this year. So is Denver. And like you said, Denver's playing out of their minds right now. Javonte Williams is playing out of his mind right now. I don't know. I think it's going to be a close one.
Definitely going to be a close one, man. I think I don't think I've picked yet, have I?
No, I don't think we have.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw my pick out there. You can that gives you another second to think about yours. But I'm gonna take the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I'm taking them to win this game, and I think they're gonna win it decisively. Wow, 27-17, actually 30-17.
Wow,
Cincinnati. That's the over, and that's Bengals money line, baby.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think the Bengals win this one. I think their offense comes out and plays really well. I think Joe Mixon, has a bounce back game himself.
Yeah, that would be huge if he plays well and Burrow doesn't throw any picks. They win.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Denver's missing some of their linebackers right now. So that kind of helps.
Sure.
Yeah, it helps him in that aspect, and also Joe Burrow. I mean, he's he needs to come out there and play a good game. Obviously, like we said, playoffs on the line. If Joe Burrow's a winner, like everyone thinks he is, says he is, he'll come out there and show that he is.
Absolutely. Like, I think that this is going to be a similar situation to the last time they lost 2 in a row, right? If you look at it, it was weeks 8 and 9. They lost 2 games in a row. One of them was to the Jets. Remember that one? Jesus. So they lost to the Jets, and it was Mike White's coming out party to the point where Mike White was telling people he should have been first overall pick of that draft.
And now I don't think he's on the team anymore.
Right. And so they lost that game to the Jets. Then the very next week, they come back. They go it was actually in Cincinnati. They get demolished by the Cleveland Browns 41-16. What do they do the next week at the Las Vegas Raiders? They go in there and they beat their faces in. Oh, they had a bye week, and then they went out there, beat up on the Raiders 32-13, and then the next week they destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers 41-10, and then that was so at that time, entering week 13, we were thinking the Bengals are for real. I think I even said they're Super Bowl contenders, and they may still be. We don't know yet. But can they respond the same way this time as the last time they lost 2 in a row? And can they go in there and do to the Broncos what they did on the road to the Las Vegas Raiders? And, that's kind of why I'm answering the yes. And I think that they're going to win it 30-17. I like the Cincinnati Bengals to steal this one and to let that momentum carry them into a playoff spot. I think they're going to be one of the wild card teams in that AFC. So.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals 30-24.
Hell yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we're out of here then, guys. We will catch you tomorrow or whenever. Well, I don't exactly know, but there will be another YouTube video / podcast available on the audio stuff available soon. Ring the bell, subscribe, all that stuff. It helps a ton. Leave a comment. I'll answer all of them. I love you. Bye.
Also, before we leave, don't forget to get your entries in for our signed Javonte
Should we make
Williams.
a cutoff date of like when we're gonna?
Yeah, I made it. December 23rd.
Okay.
Is the last
That's
date
perfect.
that you can get
We'll
your
announce
entries
on
in.
Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Yeah, we'll probably announce, like you just said, Christmas Eve. Probably Christmas Eve. I think we'll both be pretty busy on Christmas Day, as will everybody else. So yeah, be sure to get your entries in, and good luck. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace, guys. See ya.